Hello and welcome to Talking Games. Just finished Crystal Palace 1, West Ham United 1. A game of both halves for different reasons. In the first half, it was end to end, and in the second half, action was all at one end. But let's talk about the first half, Tom. I mean, the first 18 minutes, the Snodgrass and Fredericks went close for West Ham. Then James McArthur went close, a good save by Fabianski. Then Hernandez down the other side, it was a good save by Sacco. Very end to end. But what did you make of the opening half hour or so?
Brilliant. Thoroughly enjoyed watching it. That's the sort of football I want to see played. It was, like you say, totally end to end. It was exciting stuff. Anderson especially was looking $1 million in that first 20 minutes or so, because he was actually getting himself into a bit of space down that left-hand side. And a couple of the chances you mentioned were created by him. I mean, one where he's put that great ball in for Creswell, and there was a bit of a handball. It weren't a handball, but you know which one I mean. That was great ball from him. Yeah, Snodgrass chance. We were playing some good stuff. And that Fredericks chance, Antonio, what an absolute beauty of a pass into him that was. And the run from Fredericks was fantastic. And him going forward is so exciting. I enjoy watching the lad play. I really do. And yeah, it really was exciting stuff, mate. Loved it.
I thought both teams played good football that half. Both teams were going for it. And I thought, this is what we want to see. You know, when people use the terminology season's over, I do think, well, if it is over for both of us, if they're safe of relegation, they should be, and we are, then let's see some entertainment on afternoons like this when you come up against each other. And both teams did it. Both managers wanted to win for the first half. And, you know, I thought there was a few linesmen on either side had a few tight calls to make with offsides, etc., etc. But all in all, I thought they got most of it right, bar a couple of millimeters perhaps. And I thought the referee was having a good game. You know, he's letting a few tough tackles that were fair go, etc., where other referees would have blown up and just killed the tempo a little bit. It was really entertaining. Then in the 26th minute, West Ham at 1-0 from the spot. Mark Noble, after a free kick, Declan Rice looped it into the box where Antonio went arguably one-on-one. Then the keeper clattered him. Stonewall pen, Mark Noble put it away. One of the most reliable, well, to be fair, Crystal Palace got their own two reliable spot takers on the pitch, Tom, and ours. It's never in doubt when Noble gets the ball and puts on the penalty spot, is it?
No, I'm always so confident when it's Mark Noble over it. If it was anybody else, even when Arnautovic took one earlier on in the season, I was, a little bit tetchy, because Mark Noble's been our penalty taker now for so long and he's scored so many that, you're just so confident that he's going to hit the back of the net. And he did. Absolutely fantastic, mate. What a bloke.
Benteke then had a really good chance to make it 1-1, but Fabianski pulled off another excellent save, then went in 1-0 at half-time. Tom, what were you thinking of half-time? Deserved lead for West Ham?
Just, like you say, it was end-to-end, but I do think we created the clearer of the chances. Apart from that Benteke one, I don't quite know what he did with that, and I don't know how he got in that much space. But anyway, we had several chances, like the ones we mentioned from Fredericks, Snodgrass, Creswell. There was all sorts. Hernandez. We really did play well in that first half. But the thing that pleased me the most was, like you say, how much of a good game it was. Like I say, if our season's over, let's enjoy the football we're seeing. Let's enjoy these games. None of this like we had to put up with last season. This was brilliant to watch, and I was just loving it. And I was looking forward to more of the same in the second half.
I completely agree. I think we edged in the first half. I thought we had the level of chances. I thought we were quite even, but I think we just had a couple more in Crystal Palace. A bit like yourself, I was sort of putting over Anderson in the first 45 minutes. You know, we paid 40 million for him. Sometimes see a 15 million pound player turn up, but today I thought we saw, in the first half only, we saw the equivalent of a 60 million pound Anderson turn up. His passing, the one that he did from right across the pitch to Antonio, he literally doesn't even break stride. He just walks up to it, whack, and he just walks away from the ball, and it just flies, glides over the pitch onto Antonio's foot practically. He was sensational in the first half, I thought. And so I thought Fredericks was a bit green again. I don't want to pick on him, but I thought he was a bit green against Liverpool. It was the same again today. I thought he was a yard behind the other three defenders a couple of times. He was standing on the 18-yarder. The rest of them were maybe half up inside the D, and I did think we were going to get punished, but we didn't. But you've just got to bed him in, I suppose. You've got to get time. But these mistakes he's making, i.e. the offside one, that's not really getting used to your teammates. That's just something I'd expect from anybody that's playing in defence to be able to keep the line with the other three defenders. 52nd minute though, Tom, is this the miss of the season for you? James McArthur got put one-on-one. He dummies Fabianski. He had so much time, but he does well. He dummies Fabianski. Fabianski's literally sat on his arse, and he somehow puts a yard wide. He doesn't even clip the post or anything. It's well wide.
Yeah, what's happened there? I mean, as soon as it comes to him, you expect him to sort of lash at it. But no, exactly like you say, he's so composed in that situation. I'm thinking, oh, here we go. He's sat Fabianski down, and he's just got the finish totally wrong. He just had to calmly place it into the opposite bottom corner. And yeah, I don't know what he's tried to do. He's tried to do Fabianski at the near post. And yeah, he's put it wide of the post. It was a dreadful miss. And at that point, I'm incredibly relieved because, yeah, that should be in and it should be 1-1.
Now, while I thought the referee was having a good game, up until a certain potential match-changing moment, 3 bookings for Crystal Palace in the first half, one of them the captain, and he goes in on Martin Noble. He's late. The referee plays advantage, and funnily enough, it's him that goes and breaks up our attack early in the pitch, but it goes out, and then he gives him a warning. Is that a second yellow card for you, Tom?
It is, and he should stop the game immediately. There shouldn't be an advantage played because it's a second yellow card. It's simple as that. The advantage, has that let him off the hook? I don't know, but he needs to blow up, and it is a second yellow card. And let's get it right. He's not the only one. MacArthur should have been off. MacArthur was on a yellow card, and he made about 4 fouls after that. Little niggly fouls, but if you make 4 fouls on a yellow card, you've got to expect to walk. So I think they've been very lucky on 2 occasions there, especially with Mihajlovic. Yeah, it's a yellow card any day of the week. Should have gone.
I agree. I think he's bottled at the referee a little bit. I think he's played advantage. I actually think playing advantage is the right call here because we were pushing forward with numbers, etc. The referee wasn't to know the guy was going to get up and run 30 yards and break up the attack. So I think he's done the right thing, allowing us to continue our attack with pace, which in the first half, we looked extremely dangerous at doing. But as soon as it goes out, I think he should be prudent to him aside. Second yellow, off you go. And I think he's almost had too much time. The way the ball stayed in play, I think it calmed him down. And sort of the referee thought about it for too long, and he's given him one last warning. If anything, I think it's a shame that West Ham sort of didn't hassle him a bit more. As soon as he got that warning, someone should have said, right, get Anderson standing next to him because this guy cannot tackle him. If the guy breathes on him, that's another yellow card. So we should have capitalised on him. He didn't have another tackle to do the rest of the game. So I thought we missed an opportunity there you don't want to try and get someone sent off, i.e. diving, etc. But I think it's perfectly fine to target someone on a booking and go after him and try and get him to commit another bookable offence. And he'd already done that. So I think he was literally 1 foul away from a second yellow. And the rest of the game, he didn't have to make a challenge. I just thought that was a bit naive of West Ham, perhaps. Batshuayi then came on and missed a really good chance for Crystal Palace. We all thought that was going to be the guy that scored, and they put it wide. Marco Navic came on for Ariel Hernandez, and then Pedro Obiang came on for Michael Antonio as Pellegrini decided to sit back, and even more back. And then 75 minutes. Deserved for Palace, Tom. Zaha, he sort of squeezes past 2 or 3 West Ham players, gets his shot, deflection off Diop in 1-1, but would you say that was deserved?
Yeah, thoroughly, mate, really. I've got to be honest about it. I mean, yeah, game of 2 halves, and the second half was all them, unfortunately. It was obvious at home they're going to come at you. They're 1-0 down, and they really did. I was quite impressed with them, to be honest. I think this has been the story of their season, though, in large parts. That's why they are where they are on the table. They do play good football. They are a fairly decent team, but they miss a hell of a lot of chances, and they certainly did today. One of them was always going to go in. It was all Zaha's one of them players, I've got a lot of sympathy. There's no real mistake here for that goal. It's a simple case. You can't touch him when he's in the area. You can't touch him, and we're sort of like that. And and then Diop's tried to get the block in, big deflection, beat Fabianski. It's one of them. You just have to put up with it, suck it up, and unfortunately, it was deserved. They probably deserved all 3, to be fair, just on reflection. But yeah.
Well, you can't touch him. I don't think you can let him walk through you, though. I do think he was a bit. I think he had it quite easy. He cut inside of Fredericks quite easy. He went between Fredericks and another player, and the ball sort of ricocheted off people. He didn't even have to muscle his way through. He just walked through the middle of them. And then Diop's unlucky. Diop just stands his ground, gets his foot out, and he just loops in over Fabianski. Nothing he can do about it either. another day it hits the post or goes out for a corner or Fabianski catches it, etc. But I have to say it was a deserved equaliser for Crystal Palace. We all seen it coming. Every West Ham fan watching that seen that coming, especially in the second half. You sat there thinking, are we going to get out our box here? We're going to try and get a second one. Then the substitutions. Denavich one, fair enough. But the second one, when he took Obiang on for Antonio, I thought, well, we've now only got 2 attacking players on the pitch, Anderson and Anatovich, and one's on the wing, one's up front on his own. The rest of them are all defensive-minded players. They've all got a defensive responsibility here to do. And I just think we shot ourselves on the foot a little bit. You were right, they came at us in the second half, but that's where I expect us to be good. I expect us to sort of soak that pressure up and hit them on the counter-attack, but there was none of that. There was just no counter-attack and play from us in the second half at all. Were you disappointed with what you saw in the second half, or was it just a case of right tactics but unlucky?
Yeah, a bit of that, really. It's a bit of both, actually. Of course, you're disappointed because, as you say, as the game opens up and they commit more and more men forward, you'd expect the likes of Anderson to get even more time on the ball, and you'd expect us to be dangerous on the counter-attack, of course. But they were good, Palace. I do think they really come out with a good attitude in the second half. I thought we were soaking it up. I thought we were dealing with it relatively well, and it was just that one occasion we'd been done, really. But a point away from home, it's not a dreadful result, is it? At the end of the day.
What did you make of the substitutions? 3 of them: Anatovich for Hernandez, Obiang for Antonio, and then Zabaleta came on with 7-10 minutes to go for Fredericks.
Yeah, I mean, the Zabaleta for Fredericks, yeah, probably a good move, really. Put the experience on against Zaha, and I thought he dealt with him brilliantly, actually, on a couple of occasions that he had to. He showed his experience, his positioning was terrific. Like I say, I like Fredericks going forward, but you could tell that Zabaleta's he's the man with the experience. He dealt with him fantastically well. Anatovich, again, mate, it's worrying. We didn't see a lot from him at all. There was times when he was chasing down the keeper and things like that, but was he trying to overdo it? I don't know. Is he now trying to overcompensate for things that have gone on? I don't know, and we need to see him more. We need to see what he does in the coming weeks, but it wasn't a good substitution because I don't actually think Hernandez was doing too bad up until that point. He was perhaps struggling to hold things up when we were just trying to knock it long to relieve the pressure, but I was impressed with him today. I thought he did well on a number of occasions. I think even Carroll perhaps would have been a better option in hindsight. Like I say, Anatovich just wasn't really doing anything for me at all. And then the Obiang one, I just wouldn't have made that substitution. I think sometimes you don't have to make 3 substitutions. And that was a prime example of just keep it as it was, because I thought Antonio was playing well. And he is another option to have on the counter-attack. And that sort of died when he came off. And then you've got Snodgrass on the wing, who, as we know, he hasn't quite got the pace. So, yeah, I wouldn't have made that change at all, to be honest with you, Geo.
I thought the first sub was bang on, and Anatovich for Hernandez. I thought, brilliant, this is what we need. We're struggling to get out here, get the more physical guy on to hold the ball up. But I'm not going to blame Marco for this one. I thought the tactics shackled him a bit when he came on. He had no service. The nearest guy was 10, 15 yards away from him at all times. He was urging player. You make a good point about it overcompensating, but that's a good thing. That means his attitude is, I need to go out there and do something. But I just felt like he was left up there on his own, and he didn't really have the support that Hernandez had in the first half. The first half especially, Hernandez had loads of people flooding forward. Anatovich had none of it. I think the second sub killed it for us, actually, Tom. I think Pellegrini tried to protect the lead way too early. And the thing is, we weren't even protecting the lead as such, because I thought Palace were having plenty of opportunities here. So I just thought it was suicidal, sitting back a bit more. He took off the one guy that we know can burst forward and carry the ball up the pitch and has got something in his locker. He took him off, and I thought that was the wrong mistake. I thought bringing Obiang was even a bigger mistake, because what does he do when he comes on? He offers nothing. He doesn't help cement the midfield. He obviously come on to try and tighten up the midfield. It didn't work. It didn't bring Obiang on. I don't think we sort of stopped Palace by doing that substitution. If anything, we invited them on more, because when we did get out, we had no one running up instead of Antonio. If he wanted to change something, I just wish he brought on Zabaleta for Antonio and pushed Fredericks forward into right midfield and put Zabaleta behind him, just to keep the pacey guy in front of Zabaleta. Zabaleta keeps a hold of Zaha. I agree with the final sub. I thought Zaha was getting the better of Fredericks at the end. I felt that Zaha had smelt blood a little bit and he was licking his lips and he kept going on. And this isn't a criticism of Fredericks. Zaha on his day is a fantastic footballer. And today Zaha turned up and he was fantastic today. Zabaleta would have struggled over the course of the game. I thought Fredericks gave as good as he got, but I thought he struggled in periods. But what's your final words on the result and performance before we stop to quickly talk about individual players?
Yeah, it was such a Jekyll and Hyde performance, like I say, really. First half, absolutely fantastic. I loved it. Even though the game was fairly even, it was a good performance that I enjoyed watching. So no criticisms there at all. Second half, yeah, I just thought, I wish we just given a little bit more. When we got the ball, just keep hold of it a little bit longer. Maybe we rush things. Maybe we were rushing to try and counter when really the sensible thing would have been to just keep the ball, pass it around a little bit more, and yeah, frustrate them a little bit more than we did really. So yeah, as far as the results concerned, like I say, the fact that we're practically safe in the league, a point away from home, I'm not devastated about that in the slightest. I'd have probably took it before the game. It's not the easiest place to go, despite the fact we've got a good record there. So yeah, we move on, and yeah, it's one of them, Geo. I'll take it.
I can only really echo what you're saying. I would have took a point as well. It is a good point. It's a tough place to go, Crystal Palace. They do sort of go gung-ho attack at home, and regardless of who it's against, they attack that team. I just feel that it was a lost opportunity a little bit in hindsight. At halftime, I thought we're going to win this. And I genuinely thought at halftime, we don't win this, we've only got ourselves to blame. And I stand by that after the 90 minutes. I thought the second substitution was criminal a little bit. And I just felt that we didn't do enough in the second half. Crystal Palace deserved something. I thought they were over the 90 minutes. I thought they were a better team, actually. So you could say we've got off with it, getting a point out of that game. But it's just a shame after seeing so much promise in the first 45 minutes that the second half, I don't know what it was. It was Pellegrini's tactics or the players, or I don't know what it was. It was just something different. We seemed to just sit on our own 18-yarder and think that we were going to defend for 45 minutes against a side that were doing all right and cutting us open in the first 45. So a bit strange for me. But individual players, take your pick.
Mark Noble, I thought he was excellent today, and I thought he was excellent for 90 minutes. I thought he had a good game. I thought he was trying to control things in there. He's very clever. He shows his experience. He wins free kicks. So he's so intelligent in the way that he wins free kicks. He did that on a couple of occasions, and I think he wound, it might have been MacArthur up at one point doing so. So big praise for him. Rice equally so. Rice again had a good game. Hernandez did well up there, especially in the first half. And Antonio again. The old Antonio is back, as we've said for weeks and weeks and weeks now. But it is. I've not seen Antonio have a poor performance in a long time now. And he's becoming more and more important to us. And there were little flashes today of a bit of technique from him, which is something you perhaps don't expect to see from him. You expect the pace and the power. But there was little things like that ball into Fredericks and things like that, yeah, he impressed me. And again, I'll have to say it because I've criticised him enough. I think Bonner, for the second game in a row, had a good game. I was impressed with him.
Yeah, I mean, someone's got to get criticism somewhere, really, because we conceded so many chances, but it's hard to pick out who. I thought everybody had an okay game at worst. And there's an obvious man in match for me, which we'll come on to in a couple of minutes. But I thought our midfield done well. I think we need to see more from Snodgrass, though. He works hard, but it's not really enough. Like, he doesn't contribute anything in the final third. His set pieces are fantastic, but you can't justify carrying someone about the pitch for 90 minutes just because he can whip in a decent corner. And in the second half, I don't think we had a corner. So that nullifies that point. I just don't think Snodgrass is, it's hard to explain because he does work hard, he grafts, etc. But at least, Rice works hard, but the thing is his defensive attributes in that compared to Snodgrass is miles ahead. The no ball on the ball, etc. is a lot better than Snodgrass. So what does Snodgrass do except work hard? And it's difficult to pick something out a little bit. You need grafters in there, but sometimes in games like this, we are missing someone that's got what it takes to do that pass. Now, in the first 45 minutes, I thought Anderson was superb. I thought he was that guy. In the second half, where did he go? He just completely disappeared. I didn't see him. Now, whether that's Anderson or the tactics or a combination of both, but bloody hell, I spoke earlier about sometimes you see a 15 million Anderson. Well, we saw him in the second half because I don't remember him touching the ball hardly. The only times I've seen him was when he was in our box for corners and stuff. I thought Creswell was really good. I thought Aaron Creswell was superb. In that first half, I thought this guy is causing them trouble. Andros Townsend's their player in form. Townsend was doing more defensively than offensively because of Aaron Creswell. I just thought he was brilliant. Like you said about Antonio, I thought Rice again had a good game. Noble had a good game. I thought Hernandez, he's learning how to make a nuisance of himself while playing as a lone striker. We've always said he can't do it. Well, the last couple of games, actually, I'm starting to think that he's learning how to do it a little bit. There was one time in the second half, Sacco ended up getting injured off it, but it was a very lone striker thing to do. The ball was coming down. He knows he's not going to beat Sacco, so what does he do? He stands in front of him, lets Sacco come in the back of him. He doesn't get the free kick, but the defender can't get the ball either because Hernandez is just standing there thinking, well, if you're going to touch me, I'm going to get a free kick. And it's good to see that. You're seeing it with Antonio. I'm seeing something with Hernandez. It's good to see players developing and sort of coming into it. But I have to say, I'm going to criticise him again. That's Pedro Obiang. Every time I see him come on, I think, oh, for God's sake, because our midfield just opens up when he's on the pitch. I actually thought he was going to take off Noble, and I thought, oh, no, don't do this. Do not put Obiang in there with Rice because they're going to tear us apart in the middle. And I just think it was a lost opportunity, Tom. They had two centre midfielders on the booking at the start of the second half. Now, one should have went, I think. However, they didn't have to do any tackles, and it's frustrating. Anyway, man of match time, I think there's one standout here. I wonder if you'll pick him as well, but for me, there's one standout. Who's your hammer of the match today?
I'm not going to. I know you're going to play. After what you've just said, you're going to completely disagree with me. It perhaps should be Mark Noble because of his 90-minute performance. But I can't ignore how good Felipe Anderson was in that first half. I know he shouldn't be giving out man of the matches for a 45-minute display, but it was that good. And I got so much enjoyment out of watching it. I've got to give it to Anderson. I just have. He makes the game look so easy. He makes it look effortless. He glides along the pitch. He's passing everything. He's outstanding. And I just loved watching that first half performance from him. So I'm giving it to Anderson, mate. I
don't blame you. The first 45 minutes from him was fantastic. I had a look at his stats, and West Ham had done 3 dribbles in the first 45 minutes. He'd done all 3. Crystal Palace had done 3 as a team. You know, he'd 92% pass completion. He'd done 2 blocks and an interception or something. So he was even contributing defensively quite well too. So I don't blame you whatsoever. But I think you've made a mistake, and I think you're going to realise it in a second. My man match is Fabianski. I thought he was absolutely superb. He made 2 or 3 saves at crucial points as well. A couple of them at 0-0. Then when it was 1-0, he made some saves. And I just thought, this guy, you know, every game. I think it's also because on Monday night when we did the review, myself and Gonzo and that, we did the review, and we didn't really praise Fabianski. And afterwards, I thought, how did we not praise this guy? And it's because it's a bit like Declan Rice. He's consistently so good that he has to like be incredible in order to stand out a little bit because you're just used to it. But I thought Fabianski was just didn't do anything wrong. There's nothing he could have done for Crystal Palace. His goal, you know, James MacArthur, when he missed that chance, could you say that Fabianski put him off? Was it his positioning? Did he sort of make MacArthur switch sides because of where he was in the goal? We don't know. We'll never know. But that's just something you have to consider a little bit, I think. So Fabianski for me. But anyway, you guys at home, let us know what you think of the game. While we're happy with the point, we're also maybe seeing it as 2 missed in terms of opportunity. Tom here's giving the man a match to Anderson. I thought he was fantastic in the first half. I thought he disappeared completely in second. You let us know in the comments below what you thought of the game and who your man of match is. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. It's a little while until our next game, so it'll be a little while till you have to wait till our next preview. We've got a couple of videos going up. On Monday night, we have our interview with Gary Lewin going up on the YouTube channel. So come back on Monday night and you can have a listen to him talk about Andy Carroll, the facilities at Rush Green, etc., etc. I've been Geo, that's been Tom, we've been Hampshire. Catch you in a bit.